Good day, Bill. It's great to have you.
Hey, Rob. Delighted to be with you today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a good friend, a person I met a few weeks ago, just has knocked my socks off. And I definitely want to call him a good friend because he's just being of great service to me and sharing of knowledge and supporting me on social. Bill Lampton is the founder, president of Championship Communication. Bill, why don't you start by introducing yourself to the audience?
Thank you very much, Rob. I really became a communication professional when I earned my PhD in communication from Ohio University, then taught for 5 years at the University of Georgia, teaching speech communication both on the undergraduate and the graduate level. After that, I put my communication education into practice by becoming vice president of 3 colleges and then a medical center. In 1997, I formed my company, Championship Communication. I deal with communication, motivation, customer service, sales. I do keynote speaking, seminars, communication consulting, and video training. A very interesting and diverse career.
Phenomenal. So let's start off with the first question. Bill, why is communications effectiveness? Why is that a passion of yours?
Rob, it started, I was like many college freshmen, I was compelled to take a compulsory public speaking course. And I'd paid attention to the impact of speaking before, a little bit, but in the required public speaking course at Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi, I was amazed how if a student prepared a topic thoroughly, looked like they really believed it, and then gave a compelling delivery, I was astounded that in as little as 10 to 15 minutes, not only could they change somebody's opinion, they might even change their behavior, even permanently. I happened also to be a history major. I noticed that throughout history, the people who were the agents of change, the catalysts of new movements, were powerful communicators. Even Mahatma Gandhi, whose communication was nonverbal resistance, the forerunner of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And then, of course, during my management years, I found that the people who succeeded in management had very strong communication skills.
Well, that's a nice segue to the next question. The trend has been away from traditional autocratic, power-based leadership to influence. And, communications, the ability to enable the leader to better influence his or her stakeholders. Tell us a little bit more about your experience in that, because to me, that's the key today in today's low trust cultures.
That's a great observation about how the workplace has changed over the past few decades, because there was a time, as you're suggesting, when the autocratic rule of management, owners, that was the norm. The big difference now is that your team wants to know not just what they're supposed to do, what they have to do, but the big question, Rob, as you and I know, is why? And until a manager can communicate that very well to the workforce, he or she will not get maximum results. And this is why also it's very valuable for managers to study the various styles of communication. I teach the DISC personal style analysis, where we look at the fact that everybody doesn't prefer to use or respond to the same communication style. Some of them are the D type, dominance. Some are I, influence. Some are the S-type, steadiness, the good team player. Some of them are compliant. They want to follow the rules. And until you know where your people fit, what style they prefer, you're not going to communicate with them very effectively. The mistake that I made in management before I was aware of this was thinking, well, hey, Why can't everybody communicate like me? I'm a very high I type, imaginative, inspirational. Everybody isn't. And that frustrated me until late in my career. I learned you're not going to change people. What you're going to do is to learn what they prefer and then adapt to that successfully.
Well said. I'm actually coaching an INTP, this typical scientists and mathematicians, and they're very introverted and not comfortable getting up in front and inspiring others through their communications. And that gets to the next point. As you know, Bill, I teach, train, and coach and speak about trust and building cultures of tangible measures of relationship capital. So could you share your thoughts on what is the relationship between trust and effective communication?
It's a direct correlation. I was so happy when I discovered the important work that you do with the standard of trust and with relationship capital. And there's so many examples we could give of this. One that came to mind for me was I saw a situation once where during a time of economic downturn, top management said to everyone in the organization, no one can afford to go to conferences this year. You cannot go to the conventions, your professional organization that you used to do. And guess what? That same year, 8 or 10 of the top management people took off for several days and went to a resort for a meeting, which they felt was justifiable. What did that do to morale? What did that do to trust? What did it do to communication? It would be very much like, I think, Bernie Madoff saying, let me give you some investment advice. And it goes back to what Emerson said so well. What you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear a word you say. So the words and the actions must correlate directly. When trust is broken down, as you teach so well, there's no productive communication, there's no productive interaction. Relationships really fade away.
And more so today, no one is an island. You need to work in teams. And if teams aren't communicating and communicating effectively, I don't think you can make progress or innovate or go on a journey that delivers on the vision.
I like very much the saying that your mutual friend Terry Brock and I made. Terry said, all of us know more than any one of us. And that's what we find out. If we try to go a solo act in the workplace, we might accomplish a few things, but how much infinitely more can we accomplish when we have wonderful communication, teamwork, all working towards the same goal?
Fantastic. But we could go on and on, but for the sake of our audience, we'll kind of wrap this up, at least for now. Why don't you share with the audience and how can they learn more about your services as well as connect with you if they're interested in learning more how to leverage your knowledge and your expertise?
Appreciate your asking that. I'm easily found on the internet. My website is the same as the name of my company, Championship Communication, that's singular, championshipcommunication.com. I'm on LinkedIn, listed as Bill Lampton, PhD. And of course, I'm accessible by phone, 678-316-4300. Would be very happy to hear from anyone who has joined our conversation today, Rob, because I love to talk about communication, motivation, sales, customer service, and be of assistance when I can.
And it's needed more than ever. So, and by the way, the audience, anyone wants to get connected to Bill, they can reach out to me. Happy to do it. Happy to share more about my perceptions of Bill and take it from there. So until next time, guys, look forward to having a conversation to take you to the next level. Bye-bye.